make a lot of parts for Rolls-Royce jet engines, for Derby, stuff like that. So when you fly your 747s, in there we've made some bits. And also when you see the tornadoes fly over, we make loads of bits in tornadoes. So that's core business for us, and we've got a factory over in Tewkesbury, one in E8 in Bristol, two in Poole, and then the company here. And basically we believe in manufacturing. We're sort of British all the way through. Company out of business are Union Jacks like and I've always been a firm believer that the future of this country is in good, solid manufacturing. There's no substitute to it. You know, you can have as many service engineers as you like, but you've got to actually make things. So that's where I come from. The company here, for those that have never been here, or I'm taking this to somebody else, I show, well, that's the picture of the factory. I also show a picture of some of the vehicles that the company has made in the past. Now, that was the very first vehicle back in 1935. And the first one was registered on January the 1st, 1935, and it was made in the garages of the pub just down the road. And this site was the first site that actually set up to have a factory. And then, of course, it grew and grew and grew into lots of factories around the local area, and then shrunk and shrunk and shrunk back to where we are today. So we sort of consolidated back to original roots. The taxi there, the Metro Cab taxi, we don't make that now, but it used to be a Reliant product, and it's now made at Kettlebrook, a few miles away, by an independent company that came out of the first receivership, if you like. And that one, of course, is the old Regal. Just a brief, how have we done in terms of performance so far this year? Well, this is actually in thousands of pounds worth of sales, if you like, but it gives you an indication of what we've done. We've gone from nothing to, that was September, and we're now heading to November. November we were producing here 100 cars. Believe that, it's true. And that means that our equivalent sales turnover here is going to be about £8.5 million on a month-by-month basis. So we've gone from 0 to 8.5 million monthly basis in the time. So we're quite pleased with that. Not without its grief and aggravation, as you can imagine. And as you can see, we sort of go up, we take a step back, up, back, up, back. It's been the same all the way through. But it's been a progressive uptrend. And the trick really in bringing a company back from where it's been basically face down the water is progressively employing the right people at the right time. Not ahead of the time, because you don't want to incur the cost too early, but bringing it when you need it, bringing the right skills on board or providing the training. It's just been a constant battle, and one of David's biggest headaches in balancing our requirement for people, both on the shop floor and in administration, to the demands of the business. So a constant battle. We've had very, very long weeks and very long weekends, but without it we wouldn't be where we are today. So that's that. What did we inherit? Well, we inherited the core three-wheeler products, which was obviously the Robin hatchback, the Rialto van and the Rialto estate. We also inherited the Scimitar, all right, which you'll notice one or two knocking around. Now, it's a fact, which I don't make too public, but within the family it's fine. I don't think we'll ever made any money out of making these. The maths doesn't justify anything, any hint of a profit. And in point of fact, it costs about as much to make one of these in bits and time as what you get for them when you sell them. So really, it's a complete wasted exercise in terms of an economical function. Nice cars though. And we've been working at getting the cost of manufacturing down by better negotiation with suppliers, and also looking at putting the actual price up as well to create a margin in the middle to give the product some future. I'll talk about that again in a couple of seconds, but that's the thing we inherited, and what was in it was a 1.4 litre Rover K-Series engine. Supercar, done thousands of miles in one this year, very pleased with it, and I have to say, mind you, slightly underpowered for a sports car, I feel like a bit more oomph, but very comfortable and very reliable, as you'd expect. Okay. So what have we done since we've been here? Well, you will be seeing shortly that the engine factory, which was over at the plant in Tipton, because the old parent was Beans Industries, and their factory was in Tipton, where they made all the engines and gearboxes and axles. We've relocated it all back here to Tampa, so the whole car basically is manufactured on site here. We've also obviously built up the sales here, with a little bit of help from Sean, and obviously got good sales. The employees now, we started off with 20 people on this site back on January the 16th, and we're now just under 100. And again, we're quite pleased with that as well, so it goes with the territory. We stabilise the business. It's not in danger of falling off the rocks tomorrow. It takes a while to get to there, but it's stable, and the company is now making profits. Hallelujah, The only problem with that is every penny we make gets poured back into the business. And the strategy here is we know the company has suffered from neglect in terms of design activity for a number of years. I mean, the product shows it, you can see it. So our effort is every penny that we've got that we're making is being poured back into development, product development, to produce new models or revamped versions of old models and actually start to create a much better range and offer a better product range to all of our customers. So that's our strategy. So what have we done about that? Well, what we've tried to do is to offer a wider range of products, and one of the things that some of you would have already seen was a little pickup that we did, and that took us, I think, 2 weeks of hard graft in the moulding shop, and not a drawing exists for it, which is all rather nice. But that's we've had a lot of interest in that, and we're taking orders for that now, and bless him, Brian Benton in our moulding shop has actually done the mould for it as well, which you'll be pleased to hear. So, but actually we're moulding it in 2 pieces, a front piece, which is the chassis cab, if you like, and then the back piece is a separate piece which you can bond to the front piece. What it means is it gives us the flexibility to put as many different back ends as we want on it. So if you want an enclosed high back cab, we can make one of those. If you want a bigger pickup end, longer or wider, we can stick one of those on. So we've got a lot of flexibility by doing it in that way, and therefore meet much more of the market demands. The other thing that we were dead keen to have a play with was the old bomb bug. Okay, well, we don't mention those words anymore because it's a Reliant, isn't it? And it was a Reliant, in fairness. I mean, Reliant owned Bond, and they just wanted to put a product into the market under the Bond name. That's what they did. It's a 2-seater Robin, really. So we bought one back from the marketplace, an old one for about 150 quid, which is what you're staring at here. Made it all look nice again, and played around with it and put some new lights on it. I thought, well, that's nice. We rather like that. Let's go and make some of those. And then we actually we had a visit from a chap by the name of Tom Curran. Now, Tom Curran is the chief executive of Ogle Design, and Ogle were the people responsible for the original design of the bug, and also for the GTE and GTT. So responsible for a lot of the successful design products this company made in the past. So I listened to him with great interest, and he sort of fell in love with our thoughts on the bug. So, we must do that. It turns out he personally did the bug design. He was very committed to this, so he said, oh, please let me have a go at this. Fine, off you go. So he took another one that we had, we'd bought in for nothing from the marketplace, away with him. And I'll show you what he produced in a while. It's a nice yellow thing that we call a Sprint. And we're chuffed and nice with it, quite frankly. Absolutely delighted with it. And again, what we're trying to do there is we know that in the UK that there still is, well, there remains an image problem with the name Reliant and the name Robin, which is sad, but it's true. We can't hide from that. And we think one way of doing
Jasper Carrot for that.
Yeah, we do. We've got fools and horses, and you've got Jasper Carrot, and the constant onslaught of that sort of negative publicity doesn't help. Yeah. But we all know better than that.
Yeah.
And it's all about, I think, getting people into fun cars. And I think if we're providing a vehicle for the younger end of the market and the fun market, if you like, then that gets people into three-wheelers and enjoying themselves, because they are fun to drive. I'm a little bit biased, but they are fun. So that's our objective with this particular vehicle. And I'll show you the beast as we go around. We're planning to start production at, I think, January 1, to be honest, now, because of what we're doing on the mould tools. And I'm thinking of launching it probably April the 2nd. I thought of April the Fool's Day, but maybe not something like that. So it looks like April 1 we'll do a launch, and when we launch it, I expect to have a load of cars out in the marketplace, all in showrooms, ready to lift the rag off and do something sensible. So a nice bit of a splash and a bit of fun with it. We've also, whilst we're doing all that, I haven't got a picture here, and actually the vehicle's out selling like crazy, is the Reliant, what was the Reliant Ant, or the TW9, which was a pickup truck and a flatbed truck, and sold a lot out to Greece in the early days. So that was also designed by Ogle as a matter of interest. Anyway, we bought one back from the Queen. We're very resourceful here, because when you haven't got loads of money to spend on R&D, you find a way. So we bought this one back from the Queen, which was the one used on the Balmoral estate. And we paid over the odds for it, a couple of grand for it, it was fine. So we got a bit of publicity out of that alone. And then we thought, well, what we can do with it? Well, we do it up and use it. And as we stripped it down, it was in excellent nick. So we sent the chassis away for galvanising, because it was painted before, and built it back up like a new vehicle. And when we finished, we basically Robinised it. We put everything on it that's a Robin bit. Robin engine, gearbox, everything, dashboard, the whole lot was Robin bits, because we wanted commonality of parts. We thought, this is fine, it's a great little vehicle, so why don't we sell them? Can't think of a good reason offhand. So we put a nice modern aluminium back on it with a hydraulic tipper. We're now offering it out to councils as a sort of parks and gardens vehicle. So, and seeing with a lot of interest, so that's good news as well. And for us, I mean, cold-heartedly from an economic point of view, we really don't mind whether we sell, 500 or 50. Really, if we make about 1,000 cars here a year, so if we make an extra 100 of this and 100 of that, that's 10% more, isn't it? Now in our current state of our evolution, that's good news. So, an extra 50 or 100 vehicles for nothing, because they're already designed. I don't have to do any great investment in it to actually get it back on the road. Is great news, and it gets the products out, and it's getting used. So that's what we're doing now. As far as the Saber's concerned, well, I touched on that a bit earlier, but what we've actually done now is, apart from getting the cost of manufacturing it down so we can actually make money on it, we've spent some time romancing a little-known company called Vauxhall, General Motors to us Europeans, yeah? And they're very keen to help us in our mission forward, and they're going to provide us with engines and gearboxes and power steerings for our Scimitar cars. So the Scimitar Saber, and in the shop there, I'll show you what later, we've got a V6, 3-litre V6 Omega engine, which we're going to drop in this Saber. And so, I say our competition, I use that word loosely, generously almost, but we really are competing with that car against the new MGF, the new Fiat Barchetta, the MX-5, which has been around for quite a while. And MX-5 sales worldwide are something like 370,000. Yeah? That's a lot of cars. Yeah? And how many of these we sold? Well, these ones, about 500. So the opportunity for us to take a small part of that market is obviously very high. So in with a nice big engine, a nice reliable engine, so no problems with that. And what we're able to do is, from a performance point of view, we can outperform everybody. We've got a superb road holding chassis, so no problems with that. What it's lacked is a bit of power, and we've fixed that easily, because this engine generates about 185 brake horse, which is close on 6 Robinworths of engine. So, when we actually launch this and actually have the road tests, we should blow the opposition away in performance-wise, which will give us some sort of pleasure and fun. And we're going to market it as exactly what it is, which is an exclusive hand-built motor car, as all our cars are. Yeah? And we aren't a mass-produced lot of tin. These are quality-built cars. And that's where we need to go. We need to charge appropriately. Sorry, Sean. But we've been selling these cars today for £14,000 on the road. Well, an MGF is 16 cheapest, and really 16 means with a bit of goodies it's 18, and the upmarket one is 18 with a bit of goodies it's 20. And we're really going to position this around about £20,000. So very competitive, performance excellent, and what better than an English sports car rather than, forgive me, isn't Rover a German car company now? I'm sure it is, yeah. Anyway, enough of this nationalistic nonsense. Right, so that's that. And by the way, that's the original, where it came from, the SS1, which was designed by Michelotti. It's come on a bit from there, obviously in style. And in these days, all the body panels were individual panels bolted onto a metal frame. Now it's one, fiberglass shell, which is what we should be doing. Right, the other bit of fun that we've been working on is electric cars. You might have read a bit about this. In fact, you might have seen a little white thing with Lynch motor written all over it, rolling around the countryside. Yeah. Now, we're very keen on that, because for us, one of the basic requirements for an electric car is low weight. Well, obviously our car is incredibly lightweight, because it has to be naturally. It's down at 450 kilograms before you start. Now, by taking out the engine, which weighs about 60 kilograms, and sticking an electric motor, right, you started with something that's 390 kilograms before the gubbins. Well, you compare that with a Fiesta or an Escort or a Metro or whatever, you're talking about double that weight, 800, 900 kilograms, because of the weight of the metal body. So, because of that, you need less batteries to push it along, so its range for a battery is much, much better. And also, you don't need to go to the exotic lengths of these high-tech batteries that all the big boys are working hard on at the moment. You don't need a high-tech battery if you don't have to push so much weight around. So 3 conventional lead-acid 175 amp hour batteries. British car runs very happily for a 50-mile range. It means that your energy costs, when you plug this thing in overnight to trickle charge it, because that's what we're down to, your energy costs are down to less than half a penny a mile. Now, in anybody's books, that's good news. Yeah? And, if anything, if we stand for anything, it's for low-cost motoring, economic, reliable, low-cost motoring. And that's the ground we need to stand on and we need to stay in. And I think that, I don't think you can do much better than that. And for those people that actually want to do short journeys, shopping at the village or the bank or the school, or it's absolutely perfect. No good for zooming 300 miles on the motorway and back, right? But I think we move into a society progressively, and America's taken on board, whereby you have your big gas guzzlers for the long journeys, and you have the little vehicle, the little battery vehicle for the short journeys. Because it's on the short journeys that you're creating most pollution. Right? And batteries are going to become increasingly more popular because of pollution issue. Nothing to do with fundamentally economics, so that's part of it, but it's going to become pollution because cars won't be allowed into city centres because they pollute them. It's happening in London now, and it's happening in Athens, and it's happening in other major cities in Europe, and it's going to happen in the States. They're talking about New York, Los Angeles. So what are they going to drive? They've got to drive zero-emission vehicles. And who's going to be there? Well, we are. Yeah, it's as simple as that. And we've actually got a project running in the States at the moment, and up there are some pictures of our friends in the States, good place that we're working with. And we've now sold 5 cars out to them so far this year, which for us is a good start, and they're just about to zoom off and sell a lot of the cars. $20,000 a piece for that electric version in the States. So we're quite excited about that, and that technology gets used obviously over here as well. So it won't be long now, and we'll have one of those vehicles sitting here to play with, and I expect to be manufacturing those in the UK next year. One of my dreams is to actually have little red robins, if you like, as Royal Mail vans in London. Then we can become the true believer of Postman Pat, I suppose. But I think that will do a whole heap for us because it gives us position in the marketplace. If you've got a load of little red robins rolling around London picking up envelopes, because they're very lightweight, providing this, emission-free transport in central London, lots of people are going to see these rolling around all the time, and that's what we need. So that's a key task for me to win. So the day you read about us winning that order, I've been successful. Until then, we'll keep quiet. Yeah, but we don't ignore the fact that we've got some good four-wheel designs that we can do electric cars with as well. Now, we're obviously going 3 wheels at the moment, and why is that? Because that vehicle is type-approved, crash tested, and all along. Now, also the kitten falls into that category. We can't make kittens and four-wheelers at the moment because our engine isn't catalysed. To have a four-wheeler, there's much more stringent regulations on engine state. Right? Now, we're working on having our engine catalysed, and it should be done by about February, after which we can start making four-wheelers again. Okay? But that doesn't stop us making electric four-wheelers, so we know we've got a kitten saloon and a kitten estate, nothing wrong with those as solid vehicles. And when you see what we've done to the Bond bug in terms of styling, you will then appreciate why we can take those basic designs and facelift those, yeah? And get them rolling again, because we've got all the jigs and fixtures and tooling to do it. Nothing's stopping us from doing it, just got to go and do it. So there's nothing stopping us making an electric version of that with 4 wheels. And we're talking about a basic weight there of 560 kilograms, so a little bit more heavy, but I think we can pare some of that weight off before we go to market with them. So 3 and 4 wheeled electric vehicles is a runner for us. Okay, what else are we doing? Well, little device called the Fox. I must say, I think this is one of the ugliest vehicles I've seen for a long time. Lovely, of course, but I really thought they were very ugly. And I still had a picture on the wall for a long time thinking, what am I going to do with that, And it suddenly struck me in the eyes. Well, it's a Land Rover, isn't it? Really? It is a Land Rover. Go on, tell me it's a Land Rover. It's a Land Rover. Well, yeah, so again, I'm sorry if I keep talking about the Sprint, but we're very excited about it, and you'll appreciate it. Facelifting that vehicle, making it look nice, and taking off some of the hinge detail and bring it to a sort of Land Rover type image, I think is a good option for us. And again, come first quarter next year, we can put engines in these and start selling again. So we will actually bounce that back up and get it back in the marketplace. So 4 wheels are all okay. The other thing that we've had our apple of the eye on, because bear in mind this chassis has been around for a long time, there's nothing wrong with it, it runs a treat, very reliable, is a little sports car, right? And this isn't a Scimitar, an exotic Scimitar car, this is a Reliant sports car with an 850cc engine, right? And there was one built back in 1975, believe it or not, and this is a Saber. I don't know whether you've seen one of these things. We have one here today. In fact, we have two here today. And there were 6 prototypes built, and we've tracked down 2 of them. Now, this car was built in the same medium as the Michelotti SS1 was done, where there were individual body panels on a metal frame. Now, that isn't the way to build cars in our view. But nonetheless, the concept there of a 2-seater sport on a kitten chassis is perfect. You know, why the company never did that before, I'll never know. Right? It's got to be a winner, because what market are you aiming for there? You're aiming for people that want a bit of fun, can afford it for the weekends, but also the youngsters. Young people, you know, 18, 19, 20, want a first car, yeah? And it's affordable, because it's low cost. We are a low-cost car manufacturer, right? So we're talking, I say affordable, but I think about £9,500 on the road. Yeah? And when you look at what's available, well, one of those, which is a Suzuki Cappuccino, is £12,500. So we can really hit the market with a very keen price, low insurance, because it's not a 2-litre turbocharged engine, it's a late 50cc car, very modest in performance. Yeah? Low cost to run, because they're very high MPG, low cost to maintain, because, as you know, parts are modest. And it's a winning car, I think, and we're looking to actually get that on the road next year. Exactly when, wouldn't like to say, got a lot of work to do. But having done that, having first got to 4 wheels and got our catalysed engine in, and then gone to that, I think we're then talking about some serious volume with a car like that. So that's what we're doing on that front. We'll then briefly touch on to the old Scimitars, GTEs and GTCs. Well, the tooling for that still exists. It's actually sitting in a field in Chester at the moment, and that'll be coming back here in the next couple of weeks, basically. Tea's nearly ready. Is it? Oh, well, we'll have a cup of tea before we go for more. That's excellent. What a good idea. Yeah? Yeah. Anyway, so the GT and GTC will be coming back here. We will remanufacture those next year. Right? Facelifted on the front, get rid of these awful bumpers, and put some nice modern body-coloured, roundy type bumpers on the front. It doesn't take much to facelift these, and off we go. Again, Vauxhall engines, Vauxhall gearboxes. Take away the old Ford V6 thing, which is old hat now. Modern transmissions. Nice leather interior, nice dashboard, away we go. Fully type approved vehicle, no problems with that. And we've got ourselves another couple of Scimitars on the road. What else have we been up to? Oh, that's just the GTC with its hardtop. Nice car. By the way, on a marketplace positioning, we think with our Scimitars, we are better than BMWs in the South. Well, everybody's better than BMW, realistically. But I think it makes no sense for us to try and... I'm not looking to get sales because we're cheaper than BMW or cheaper than... I'm promoting the issue of the exclusive hand-built motor car, that's it. So it needs to be more expensive than the BMW, so it's more exclusive, and people that have got the money will spend it on those sort of things. Yeah? That's right, isn't it, David? Absolutely. Yes! Right, so that's the plan with that, and I suspect prices on those will be about £35,000 a piece, right? And that is nicely more expensive than a BMW 5 Series estate, which is where it should be. So I think we'll hit the executive market there.
Keep doing the lottery.
Sorry?
Keep doing the lottery.
Yeah. The other thing that we're, I say, just about to do, I'd like to say we're doing it already, but we haven't got around to it yet, but we've collected some cars now, you'll see in the yard, some SE5s, right? These are lovely cars, you know? The nice thing about our cars is they're totally recyclable. When we talk about milk bottles and bottles of pop, these are totally recyclable cars. So when it comes around to greenness, I think we are the greenest company you've ever seen. Yeah? So we took a look at the SE5s and it was a wonderful car. Why don't we rebuild these things? Complete factory rebuild, motor car. Answer, no reason whatsoever. So we've got some to do that to now, and we think that we can do a factory rebuild and put them back on the marketplace at 15,000 a piece with the V6 in it. We're toying with putting the Vauxhall V6 in actually as well, but at the moment we're actually going to recondition the Ford V6 and the gearbox and the axle, everything reconditioned, completely resprayed shell obviously and fixed where necessary, all new trim. You've got a brand spanking new motor car, and most of them, to be honest, the chassis were originally painted and got a bit rusty, so we fit a new chassis over. And you've got sort of a classic car there, completely rebuilt, for I think it's a modest price. And the nice bit about that is, if you happen to be a businessman and running a company car, and this was your company car, you only have to pay half the benefit tax. Yeah? Because it's a classic car, it's over 20 years old. Wonderful, isn't it? So you pay half the income tax penalty for driving it. Yeah? And if it's over 25 years old, and for those that were built in 1970, that is true, you don't have to pay any road tax. That's the new regulation coming out. So classic cars, no road tax. So why not? What a good idea.
Right, you, Bert.
So anybody who's got an SE5 sitting in a garage, I want it. So that's that one. Our famous engine, going very well. We've done a lot of work on that, and I'll explain that as we go around on the tour. And we sell that to sort of third parties for their applications. And one classic application is for Angus fire pumps. It's a lightweight fire pump for pumping water for fires and things like that. And they've sold these for 20 years. Reliant engines in their fire pumps for 20 years. And they came to me and said, what a wonderful engine it is, you know, and basically the pump is our engine, and it's got a bit of framework and such like, and which is all very good. And so we're, you know, collecting significant orders from them for those engines. Spares business, a VEX issue, boy, what a painful process. Yeah. Anyway, the spares has been a trauma for us, because most car manufacturing companies don't make a lot of money making cars. You know, they make the money on the spares. Well, we haven't had any spares business. It's all been done by Unipart. Unipart made all the money. And we said, no, this has to stop. Right? And the only way we could actually bring it to an end was to say, we're not supplying you with parts anymore, Unipart, basically. We had a bit of an up and a puff. And then they understood, so we then engaged in long discussions about how to transfer the whole lot to here, which still hasn't happened to this day. But in the meantime, we've got on with building up our spares business here to supply the market for spares from here. It's crucial to the company that we run the spares from this operation. It's also crucial we run it efficiently, which we know we're not doing today, but a little bit more time we'll be there. Right? But the bottom line is that the money from that is what funds the product development. You know, and that gets us more and more engineers and enables us to invest in design work and development work to give us our new vehicles for the future. So it's crucial, this business. No other car business has to do without it, so why should we? So that's the rationale behind that. What else? Oh yes, overseas factories. Now you may or may not know that Reliant set up several factories overseas. Israel, Greece. This one is actually a picture of the Otosan factory in Turkey. It still runs today, so you know, Reliant founded that business. Now we've been inundated, frankly, with people that want to have a Reliant factory up. Great, spread the word. And the logic is very, very simple, because it's a low tooling cost company, although high labour content in building a car. Therefore, for a third world application, it's absolutely perfect. You don't need a big steel plant or big presses or robot welding units to make these cars. You need a little bit of tooling and the body mould from here, a bit of fiberglass, and away you go. Right? And it's a kit apart from us to assemble it. And we can do that very, very easily and very, very quickly. And we've actually got discussions underway at the moment including Oman, Syria, 2 plants in China at the moment, Poland, Pakistan, India again, because there was one plant there in the past, Sri Lanka. That's enough. Honestly, it's been amazingly interesting, and it's logic. It's very logical they should do that. And there's no doubt that when we can draw a bit more breath, we'll be able to put some effort behind these. But quite frankly, we put them all to the back because we're too busy doing other things. Right now, we've got to say, no, wait. You know, if somebody says, here's £2 million, please provide me with the jigs and do it. I'm thinking, okay, you've got me, you know, you've got my attention. But really, until that happens, I just keep them at arm's length and just get on with it. Here, we actually manufacture the rear axle assemblies. And when the axle is assembled, it's finally tested in this little jig here. Whoops! I have to squeeze through here. Through, yeah. Oh, actually that goes round and round. Carry on, carry on. Yeah, it did, didn't it? I haven't warmed up yet, plenty of this. And in this shop, we're assembling the gearboxes down this side of the shop and the engines down the other. And what becomes obvious as you walk around is the extent to which we build a complete car here. So everything pretty much is of our design and of our manufacture, even down to the water pumps. You know, these housings are done on castings on our tooling. We machine them here in our machine shop, and we assemble them here in this shop. So There's every bit you can possibly imagine that we can possibly do, we do here on this small 3.5-acre site. Including, and these are the gearbox casings. We buy in our casting and we do the complete machining operation in our machine shop over the way. Now in here we're doing new engines and we're doing remanufacturing, so we're reconditioning as well. Which is also great from our point of view. For a low cost we can offer factory guaranteed reconditioning when something goes wrong. So when you don't have to worry about fixing anything. So down here is the gradual build of the engine. And we've done a lot of small improvements in the engine over here. We've got manufacturing over here. We've only got our hands on it. So lots of little things. Sorry, you have to bring up a little bit more. One cable. No, there was Variety Carbon. The SU is the current one. So, as I say, that's the complete engine with the famous SU on the top. And we've done a lot of improvements to the engine since we've actually been here. A lot of small things. I think probably the most notable is on the balancing of the engine. I'll show you where that's done over the other way. But there were a lot of problems, not a lot of problems, but some problems with lumpy engines that it's never quite timed properly. Couldn't get it quite right. Turned out that it was a problem of balancing. And that originally the balancing of the flywheel and the crankshaft completely ignored the pressure plate. And that's a fairly large, out of balance lump of metal. So now we've balanced the whole assembly together. So we have a well-balanced engine that revs up to about 7,000 RPM very comfortably. So, and there's lots of little things like that in tolerances and positioning that gradually improve the engine over the year. Yeah? So we think we're getting a lot better performance out of it. And in point of fact, the few little mods that we're putting in, you will notice it, but it's difficult for you to know. It's actually improving the power output from the engine as well. And that's, it doesn't cost anything to do that, it's just improving what we're doing. As you walk around, you'll see evidence of us playing. This is a bit of play in here. This is obviously one of our own fishes. It's got a go-faster camshaft in it. We've done some work to the cylinder head. And this one with a Ford Fiesta carburettor, believe it or not, will actually turn out about 55 brake horse. Now you compare that with the standard engine that churns out about 34 brake horse. That's a nice powerful piece of kit. Now we're working on that and playing with it principally so that when we produce four-wheel vehicles next year, and I'm thinking of the sports car particularly, we've got an engine with a bit more power to go into one. So we can offer two power options on that car, a 55 or a 34. So that engine is destined to go into my kitten. And I do a lot of travelling, as you can imagine. I'm doing close to 1,500 miles a week. So I'm going to be doing up and down the M40 in my little kitten with this engine in it. And what I want to do is find out how reliable it is. Because the last thing we want to do, the last thing we can afford to do, is to put products out of the market that come bouncing back quickly when we get them out. Yeah. So we've got to make sure that when we come they're good quality and they're reliable.
It's a shame about that Jasper Carrot thing. It bypassed me completely, but you've got something working against you all the time, haven't you, with everybody laughing?
That's right. Well, Jasper Carrot doesn't do it. Oh yeah, we can really, but on the manifold here, if you offer it up to the cylinder head, there's a little bit of a mismatch between where the holes in the cylinder head are and the holes in the manifold. Now, engines have to breathe. It's a bit like trying to run with the hand over your mouth. You can't do it. And just the simple experience of improving that makes a lot of difference to the engine. And it's tiny little things like that require a bit of engineering work, a bit of foundry work to change this, that improve the performance of the overall car. Having built the engine, We're running here. Phil here is responsible for this whole section. They're all run up on the bed here prior to being mated with a gearbox and sent over to the assembly shop. And the gearbox is run up on a fixture over there, so we've tested both units. Yeah. The only thing we don't do at the moment, and what we are going to do, is that we don't test the gearbox under load until we road test it. Now that's all very well, but the last thing I want to do is find out there's something wrong at road test, because then I've got to take the whole thing back out again. So we're going to put another test in there to put it under load so that we can catch any problems like that at this stage. But it makes economic sense to do that, because changing one engine once a year is a pain. The test costs me nothing. Right, that's that. Right, this is the very important core part of the business, which is the fiberglass moulding. As we squeeze past, obviously we don't have lots of space here, as we get lots of brushes, you might get a bit of gel coat when it closes, and we don't want that. We run in here about 9 body moulds, and we run on basically a one-shift system, and we can get 1 car per body mould per day. Right? So if you like, at the moment running on one shift, we can make a maximum of 45 cars in a 5-day week. On 3 shifts, it's 135, and if we work the weekends as well, we can do a bit more. We aren't yet. Right? We're currently making 27 cars a week, and that's this week, next week, and the week after, and we're just going to see how it goes from there. So we're going to match what we're doing to what the demand is. But in essence, I think I'm comfortable that we can run up to about 100 a week here before we have any real problems in terms of capacity. And if you bear in mind that at peak, the company was making something like 380 three-wheelers a week. So if we get to 100, we're to 25% of what their maximum was, give or take. But we'd like to be there as quickly as possible, but in easy stages, one step at a time. So our next hurdle point is 30 cars a week, and then we'll build up from there. 20% of what we do at the moment goes overseas. And that's largely Holland and Austria. And in Austria, it's a cold car. Left-hand drive. Oh yeah. But that's interesting. All the ones that go out to Vienna are in night fire red, and they love them. So fine. I love them too. Right, so you'll see this grey coating in here is called gel coat. And that's the initial coating to prevent grazing of fiberglass, which was the early problem of it. We're then placing matting and resin on top to various thicknesses depending where it's got to be. We then marry up 2 sides to a top, a bit like an airfix kit, bolt it all up. We then put a floor pan in on a chassis and mould all that in, and then that dries off, and that's the complete body. You'll see that being done as we go down the shop. Right?
It's all my fault.
And if everything goes right, I take it.
Did you have that on film just when they were breaking it down?
do with this, now we're going to have some fun with it, because when we've got a bit of time, we're actually going to build it up. Yeah? And if we use it as a press spook, you know, secret camera shooting this car, you know? And of course it won't have anything to do with anything we're doing, but it'll be a bit of fun.
Yeah, and bring it to you.
That's it, free publicity. Yeah? John, find the road's very rough down here, there's a screw on it. You've got to trim off the excess that you don't need. And that's what we're doing here, using these jigs that make that long. And then go around, bouncing off the edges, and you end up with a body, the whole stuff is ready for finishing, and trimmed off. And we've done that, then after filling the wall, starting to go inside the painting. Now the other technology for this is the initial coat of grey mould. You can do that in a three-coloured colour. Whatever colour you want, you can spray it on. And if you do that right, don't need to make the glass. And the paint is made with the velcro to come up with. Now, we're going to give that a go in the new year on one or two of our vehicles, see how good we can do it. But if we can do that, it might be the answer to the virtual vehicle. Then the car comes in here for post-road test adjustment. So at this stage you're actually tuning the engine after it's warm and checking for emissions and all that sort of thing. So that's the task that we do here. It comes back in here, and any odd knocks or rattles that you've discovered on the route round all gets done here. Hello, chaps. You're working hard. Correct answer. Correct answer. Trim the shell, filled the little holes and bits and the pips with filler and rub that down. We're now at the point where we're actually fitting the doors, the back panel and the two doors. So at this stage, basically we're calling door fits. And this is the last operation prior to starting to paint the vehicles.
Sorry about that news.
Find one, we buy it. It's very simple. Yeah, we're looking to pick up as many as we can. So
And I keep saying to my partner, I said, well, I thought we were selling cars. He said, no, I like buying them. He said, oh, fine. And we've also been building up a collection of now, the reason why that kit in there is off that chassis there is that we're playing around with that chassis for the next kit, the electric car, how long it's going to stop. So our engineers are starting to play with that one. The yellow kit in there with bonnet up around its windscreen, that's the one they're going to stick my go-kart engine in. And they promised me they're going to start painting that tomorrow.
Yeah, yellow?
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 Oh, the engine's out there, that's why. The engine is not
Yellow?
It's actually been done with a Nissan engine. The M25 got done doing 110 miles an hour.
I reckon. And that one, when it's done, will be our runabout on the side here. We've got an SS1 there as well. That's got a rusty chassis, and that's back here to have a look at putting a new chassis on. So they're all here for good reasons, and we're learning from them and we're developing from them. And that body there, that kitten body, we're going to restyle to be the next kitten body. No, we didn't. Sorry, that's here because that's got a semi-automatic gearbox on it. Yeah. Right. Now we think that there are some people that would like an automatic gearbox on a run. Cracks it to make more leaks. So there's only one wall in that, just to blow it away and put a new one up. So at some stage we want to do that and have a much bigger building here because we're doing obviously spares and the current. In here you're staring about 1.2 million pounds worth of stock. Yeah? Soon adds up. That's what you've got sitting in here. And we're sitting in here with both of the Scimitar and the Robin stock.
I started bringing it up now from the other one.
We do everything. We're going to do some more soon. We've got another chassis coming today. Yeah. And this is a Robin chassis, obviously. We've got jigs for the kit and the box over there. So, having welded it together, and all the bits of metal we're buying in from suppliers at the moment, and we're actively looking right now at actually setting up an operation to make these bits on site rather than buy them in. Right? So we do more ourselves. All welded there, then it goes out for galvanising, comes back to clearing out the galvanising, yeah, and then straight into the moulding shop and moulding into the bodies. And you can see the excellent quality. The nice bit about these chassis, we never have to worry about them. You know? There's never going to have any fatigue failure, they're perfectly strong, and all the technical problems we solved years ago. So one of them, used to run from inside outside. Yeah. Well, that's all right. Now, for those of you that have been looking at the bodies, you will notice, I hope you will notice, that the quality of the paintwork on current cars is much, much better than you've seen before. Now, the reason for that is very simple. When we first came here, we had a dealer conference, and principally we got a lot of criticism on paint finish for the car. I've already said it was rubbish and it was awful. I said, okay, I'm listening, you know. So we've concentrated all year on improving the quality of the body finish that we're producing. And that goes right back to the mould itself in the shop and keeping those in good condition.
No, but in the car, that used to go like a match to finish after a while to heat the engine.
So that's what... I haven't seen that. Good point. I didn't know that. Yeah. Oh, wow.
You've got the nice red, red. It's constant, you know, with the additional car, you go off like a Well, like a mat spread, you know.
Well, I suppose something underneath it, but I didn't know that.
Anyway, so as part of that, it's making sure that the mould is good to start off with, and then all the trouble we've gone to filling and rubbing as you come down the yard. So this time where we primed it and we're checking it, just putting the little holes that we found after a prime, we're rubbing it again, and then it goes over to Nissan Hut number 2 for its top coat of paint, which is where we're going now. Since we're here, shall we? You can just see in here the actual top coat going on the car. No robots. It's all hand-built motor, top to bottom, and that looks like a green one to me. That's my eyes. So, obviously this is the important bit. All the work that you put into this stage, you know, is revealed when you've got the top coat on. And then when we've done that, we are polishing these cars. But for us, it's important that when the body leaves its shop, it's perfect. And the first thing it's responsible for doing is that stuff in there, and you jump out here. That's what we're doing. Now, that almost works out all the time, except when the guy in assembly damages the car in assembly, and sometimes by which case it comes back to blow over. Our philosophy is that when a car leaves its factory, it's fixed to be put on the road and driven. I don't expect people to have to spend a day or 2 days with a PDI and do this and do that. When it leaves it, it should be just so. Yeah? But if it isn't, I won't know about it. It's just simply put it right next to it. We learn through the years. We've done a lot of work on paintwork here. We hand rub the paint, we try emery, fibre bolting. A lot of effort goes into it, and it's a really good quality. I think, pretty much the fact that the market goes on, cars start up to about £8,000. If you're paying £8,000, you want one of the car. So that's why we do that. Born and knocked about this car, it actually is good fun to drive. I've given it a couple of years. So this is what is the inspiration for the depth of sports car we're going to do. Make a complete, one big shelf line. Very much a land appearance, I think. So I mean, really, from a manufacturing point of view, this is possibly straightforward. They cannot use copyright. They can't use our designs.
No, they can't.
But they can use the whole concept of fiberglass cars and chassis. It's not too difficult.
No.
But it takes some time. I mean, the benefit of this company is that if we hadn't taken it over, it had gone to nothing. It would have never risen again.
No.
Because nobody would
So
start up.
you've built on what's gone before.
Yeah, I mean, the value of what we've actually acquired in the product is millions of pounds worth of value that we picked up some safety from the consumer. Basically, that's what we've actually done here. There's no economic there is. We can get the art and we can build on it. As well as keeping the whole business going as well as that, we can do other things as well, evolve it from that. And
I got brand new one yesterday. Can't open the side door. We've got to tell them to do a lot.
Around that, what we can make money out of. Right now,
That's it, yes, yeah.
Anything on it.
Left with power size, we do further than the battery size. Why?
That's right, but it's
I
also...
don't know, really.
Yeah, we assemble all cars with their 3 or 4 wheelers, but not the Scimitars. Right. So this track is designed for assembling the 3 or 4 wheelers, and frankly, we can make any car at any time. You know, it doesn't have to be all the same. You know, every one can be different. And it's laid out so that on the downstairs we do all this sub-assembly. Window wiper motors have been made like this for decades. Yeah? Where you have sort of a drive and a worm drive to a point, and then to another point for 2 window wipers. Well, with our car we only need 1. So we've got this thing. But in reality, what do you need? You need an electric motor right there driving straight. What we're embarking on with the car at the moment is quite a tedious cost reduction program, where we take out things that were cheap in their day when they were built into the car, and now are specially made for us, and therefore are expensive. So we pay huge price penalties for that. You know, my huge, I'm talking in terms of about £40 extra I pay for this over an electric motor. Yeah, and those are the sort of things that has happened over time. The car, when it was, how many things were put on it, these were made in hundreds of thousands and they were dirt cheap. Now they're not. So we're all about rolling back years of neglect, if you like, and keeping up to date with the equipment you put on the car. And so the next generation will have a lot of facilities like this taken out of it, and a modern window wiper motor put in. And then gradually what that does for us, obviously it helps us to make a slightly bigger margin here, which we can put back in. But also it means that we can be a bit more, in my view, a bit more competitive in the marketplace as well. Yeah. And I think what will happen is, rather than, I don't expect what we're doing is to reduce the cost of the car in the marketplace. I think what will help us is to prevent it increasing, yeah? So we can hold our price for a while and let others overtake us, and then position the car a bit more economically, I think, in the marketplace. That's the strategy, I think. But it's a bit of a time to get there. And then they go on our track and up and down the line. And we have a progressive process of fitting the bits to the car until we get to the other end.
Could I... You're going past the window, I think.
Oh yeah, you want to look at that? Yeah, sure. Excuse me.
Winder now.
Yeah, it's the last two, because you get to the last one, especially on the driver's side. Drop down, go down the corner, just like put down on the window there.
One of the simple little things that we do in the there's a lot of work.
You're leaning over.
And that's what we get most damage. That gives you an idea of the sort of painfulness of the now, maybe Star has gone full circle, I don't know, but I actually don't like those, but it's not me that's really the ultimate judge, is it? Right. Yeah, the only thing that was said, we've got something to say. That's the fact that now we're getting alive, beating the drum. Components to the car in various stages along here.
It would be easy to do. That's the only time. That's the only thing that hinders time when I'm putting an engine. Well, taking an engine out of what, about an hour?
Yeah.
That takes about an hour.
So, on a sort of stable way up at this point, where Mr. Harper, down there, who's not putting an engine to the thing, is it? They would actually fit the engine on this one.
Yes.
And you'll notice the two you wouldn't know it, but the thing here, been with the company for a good many years, and there's a sort of building gravel. Videos, old videos, and these guys stars, videos. So there's a lot of experience that exists within this company. We've brought in some young newcomers as well, but the core and the heart of the company has been through it thick and thin.
And how far did you go to reach lost last year?
Because they weren't producing cars. I mean, we produced 2 in January. And what the receiver did is, and they always need to do that, it's not just this business, is they don't place orders with the clients. So that I couldn't just walk in the door in January and say, right, we're going to start building again. Because the supplier's saying, yes, but it's going to take you 16 weeks to get any. So what do I do for 16 weeks? That's 4 months, you know? Well, we had to work like hard to get parts right away. And it wasn't just one supplier, there were loads of them. Just to get cars in, it was so hard. We were getting parts from Unipart, from dealers, anywhere we could find a part to build some cars to get them back out. And we've been running backwards all year on demand. We have not been able to take cars in our yeah, and that's why we've been going in hammering times every month. They've shown that graph more and more and more and more. And when we've actually got the demand in place, then I think we're doing all right, and we're satisfying what people want. Then we can actually start filling up the showrooms with cars. We've got the showroom. I say to them,
why haven't you got a car in stock? You can't deliver it. Right, yeah. So, don't run no more of that. I can ensure that I've got cars interested. We're not just one car, several cars. So really not showroom process between now and next year. Right. And we start on the key area of April, May, June, July, August, September, October sales period. With cars in showrooms that people can see and look at and touch and feel and test drive, yeah? And then what I hope will happen is that instead of making 20 cars a week, you run to 30 cars a week and then 40 cars a week. We start building up that way, just progressively, and expanding not just in the UK but also more and more and more in Australia, along that way. So we've got great expectations, just until we get careful that we overdo it. There's a heavy price to pay in terms of cash. Amongst the many battles that we've had this year in getting the car back to it, we had a lot of fun with the heater people. Now everybody said, when I placed orders on boxes, yeah, we'll supply you, the price is double. Because they all lose money in the city. I said, no it isn't. We went on this endless battle about pricing. And with that one, the guy was being very, very silly. And I managed to organise deliveries of the actual coils that go inside that from Israel, and the metal box manufacturer, third party to assemble it and test it, and so the original supplier, I didn't need any more. Now I know he had a whole pile of stock working. So I said, no, I don't want yours anymore, and I can say that because I did have an alternative, yeah? And it's amazing how quickly he came back to deal, yeah?
So you are letting you have them now.
So it's just an internal program of negotiations. Sometimes you're bluffing and you're hoping you pull it off, sometimes you mean it. And that goes on even to today. What we had on our wheels and tyres, we're going to put them together, deliver the tyres up to Bridgestone and Birmingham, up to them to fix. And they were buying the wheels, they were the wheels, and we didn't know whether they were something called in South Africa. They started being silly with me this year, yeah? On prices and things like that. And I found out that the wheels actually made in Birmingham by Dunlop.
And it was going up there.
It was going up to Manchester. They were, yes, you're right. So we turned around and said to him, well, keep the wheels. We don't want them anymore. And I'm waiting for the response now. So,
but you're all right anyway.
Oh yeah, we're all right. We were down today, making cars in our week. And we're all right. One outside the deal, when you've got 100 all at once. Oh, yeah. I'll hit him on the head all the time. here waiting them up. They've been waiting here for 2 weeks already. But nonetheless, I want them to order it. And it's like a lot of things, you've got to make sure you do what you say you're going to do and make sure that you fit, locking or girding bricks, you actually are fitting locking. If not, often not a problem providing it's documented properly, it's been tested properly. And we've, this year we've already done brake vents here, certainly to keep the whole approval process up to date. That is a nightmare. And if you ask Myra, I've got a new car, how much to a complete testing program? They're talking in terms of £1 million a car. Right? So believe you me, when we say we're bringing out a new car, we've got to watch very carefully. So when I tell you the sprint in a little while, it's a Robin really. Yeah? Because all the approvals that we have for the Robin read across to the sprint with a few exceptions. It's going to pop upstairs to our sewing department now. So it comes back to being a fully integrated vehicle manufacturing plant, this. Here is where we do all the trim for the car. All the seats, all the carpets, everything is done in this department. And from our point of view, it's brilliant, because if we want to do something a bit special, we whiz down, we measure up, come here, an hour later, whoop, there it is. Now that's true skill. You know, when you're talking about vehicle engineering, to be able to do that in the speed that we can do it, it's fantastic. Because the alternative is you get somebody else to do it for you. And then if you want something doing, say, oh look, I've got this thing needs doing, do you think you could come along and you know, next week they come and do it and measure up, and then, oh well, it'll take us about a month to do it. And you do in 6 or 8 weeks what you can do in 2 hours. Right? And so, you know, to really make things happen, you do it yourself. And in addition to that, it's a very efficient operation here. And you know, this team of 2 do everything on site. And the sort of things that we buy in, if you like, are the frames. Those are the seat frames. And obviously the raw cloth. Everything else is sewn here and put here. Even the parcel shelves with the fiberglass are covered in plastic. And even the notes, even the dustbins.
Fiberglass.
You're on bits.
The eyes make me really fun.
Is it recyclable?
Of course.
Yes,
Yeah. Of course. But it's nice, you know, that you use your own paper.
Yeah.
And the steering wheel, some people say, why do we have the same steering wheel? The cost of testing a new steering wheel is absolutely out of this world. So I love our steering wheel. I think it's the best steering wheel in the world.
It's stood the test of time.
It certainly has. Yeah. It works, it turns corners, but wow. Do I want to restyle it? No, thank you. Right, okay, let's whiz back down again. Here, our test craft. You've got the two main engines here, making the new Saber together. And we've got our development. And what you have here is a 1971 bike. Right? So this is the one we want. First one we want, that's what we're waiting for. And we've painted it up, we've put some lights in front, and played around with it. We've organised the place, it's a pretty fast place. And that's when this chap from over came up and said, well, I like what we're trying to do, I'm sure I can do much better. Fine, away you go. And so he produced this little thing on the left here. Good point. This means that it's a styling concept. This actually doesn't work, but what we're going to do is that whole panel there is going to be a hatch opener. Right? The difference in styling between the back of this and the back of that is on the front. both of us you compare notes, I'm quite sure. Obviously, hopefully you'll pick up we've got a very happy workforce, very hard-working and committed workforce, and we're doing a lot of good things, I think. I'm very biased, I know it. And we've got a lot of ideas, a lot of things we're doing for the future, both in our little yellow car, the sports car, the box, kitchens, all the things that we know we can do things with. But it's really a small amount of investment. We can get these things back up and running and rolling. Really, I think from my point of view, it's almost over to you. If there's any questions you would like to ask, feel free. I'd be delighted to try and answer them. Let's make it easy.
Yes, I'm very interested in pickup.
Yes.
When will it be available?
Next month.
Next month. So if I, next August, I was thinking of having a car anyway. I would get the car.
Right, you can have whatever you like.
But delivery. I wasn't sure what's the delivery like.
You want it before Christmas?
No, I want next August.
Next August.
If I said anything a month before, it would be there all the process. And the colours.
Any colour you like.
No different.
Pick a colour, we'll do it.
And then there's the back. You want a bit more than a month. Yeah. Just open it. You got some hood on it.
If you want to hood on it, I'll make you
Yeah, that's what we want. Yeah, that's what we want. You've got these bits on there?
Yeah, I can show stuff and ropes on it. So I can give you some before you go today. So I'll control that. So yes, be a pleasure.
Well, I hope you've got any questions. I would like to thank you, I'm sure, on behalf of the rest of us, for a very interesting tour. And
Here, here. Give him a clap. Lovely, lovely. Well done.
It's a great pleasure having you come here, and you're always welcome. And maybe if you want to make it an annual pilgrimage, we'd be delighted to see you, because next time you come, it'll be dramatically different from what it is today. Year on year, tremendous. Cool. All right. All right. Are you happy now? Steve's got something to say. Steve. Sorry, let me introduce you. Steve Bentley. Follow Steve. Steve has joined us with me. He heads up all the sales side now. So he's going to give me a hard time. Steve, wait a minute.
I'm going to keep the car company, so keep all the old company. What Peter has said earlier today, that anyone who's been on the tour, who wants to carry off the loan, okay, only people who come on the tour will give you £100. Doesn't matter what the deal is with Sean.
Steve's looking at me. He's got his head side.
That's already done.
That's going to stay this week.
If someone,
From anyone here.
anyone here who can give Sean an answer before Friday night and we get all your details down, we'll give you £100.
Brilliant.
Hey,
I know, you have to speak. And that really hurts, Peter. Yeah.
Really saying thank you to Sean for doing this tour, which she is
Sorry.
had the initiative to do. Of course you will.
We'd be delighted to have a team photograph if we may. If I can sneak in the middle, someone would like to take a photograph. A robin. What we got? Right there. Yay!